Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of the EcoStruxure Machine Expert training. In this video, what we're going to see is how we can use the NVL's functionalities that we have in the software. So let's go to the software. So I'm going to start from scratch with a new project, and the idea of this NVL is to communicate the Schneider PLCs using the software Machine Expert, so we can easily share information between them. So in my case, what I have is two PLCs. It's going to be the M251, this one, okay, my M251, to change the name. And then I have a Modicon M262 along this. So let's wait for this to finish. Okay. Build them. Okay. And now I'm going to add the Modicon M262, and if I'm not wrong, is this one, my M262. So in this case, the NVLs use Ethernet, so we need to configure the PLCs to be in the same range, so we have the communication between them. So after it finished loading the libraries, okay, good. So I'm going to configure in each port. I'm going to delete this part so I don't need it. So in each port of the PLC, I'm going to configure the IP address. So in my case, I'm going to connect the Ethernet port 1, the one that you have the switch on the M251, with the M262, the Ethernet 2. So Ethernet 1, I'm going to assign a fixed IP address, 2.1, 255, 255, 255, and I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to enable all this part, and I'm going to enable this 192.168.2.1. We are not going to use this, but as I'm going to have it for testing, I'm going to configure. So this part is the M251 already done, so we need to configure the M262. So the M251, the Ethernet port 1, is going to be connected to the Ethernet port 2. So this range of IP address must be in the same range. So it's going to be this 62. And I'm going to enable this. And in this case, I'm going to use the 192.168.262.255.255.255. And let me see, this one, it has the communication, otherwise it's going to be an issue. There we go. So far what we have done is to configure the ports that we need to communicate with each other. Okay, as you can see, this one is the M251 and this one is the M262. So they are in the same range. So as soon as we done this, we need to configure the NVLs that we're going to share. So what I'm going to do is to create a new NVL. You have the global variable list, and then you have the network variable list, and you have receiver and sender. So receive is going to be from one PLC to the other one, okay, and sender is the one this PLC is going to send to the other. So I'm going to create a sender, so the information from the M251 is going to be seen on the M262 sender. NVL my M251. So here we need to define network type. It's only one, is UDP. Here we have some additional settings, okay, regarding to the port that we're going to use. So in case you're having a switch or router in there, you need to enable this port. So I'm going to, okay, as you can see over here, this one is a broadcasting. Okay, so here the NVLs must be linking to a specific task. And in the past, okay, you should be able to do it like this, linking to a mask, and you would not receive any error. Then on the latest version of Machine Expert, it advises you to use a specific task in order to use the NVLs. So I'm going to leave it like this. I'm going to compile. Then we have the list identifier. This list is a unique ID for each NVL that we're going to use. So if we have 3 different NVLs in your project, each of them must have a unique ID list. And then you have the cycle transmission. Okay, this one is just for checking the information that you have. And then you have the cycle transmission, that this one will be the how often the NVL is going to be sent to the other side. But you also have the possibility to use a variable learning to transmit the NVL to the other side. So in this case, I'm going to use it like this. You're going to specify. So I'm going to add it. Now, as you can see over here now, if I compile, I should probably receive a warning. NVL must not be linked to the mast. Okay, this message wasn't in SoMachine, what we have in here. So what I usually do is to create a new task NVL. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is to link the NVL. So right click on the NVL that we have created, and if you can see, we have an arrow indicating that's going outside. So this one is a sender. So properties and network variables. Okay, and here you have the possibility to link again must task NVL and apply. So you can see over here now the warning that we have. Now if I compile this, you can see here the message is not in there, but we have another one indicating the priority. As you can see, I have created a new task, but the priority is number 1, and it indicates must be higher than 25. So here I need to modify, so I'm going to use 28. Okay, and the other thing is that this task must be this number, the interval, must be a multiple number of the one that I have defined over here. So 20 is going to be fine. Let's see. Now let's add this and compile. Okay, good. So this one is not related to the NVLs, okay, but I'm going to explain it. And this one is because there is no POU inside the NVL. So what we can do here for this one to sort it out is to add a folder, folder aux. So here add object, go for explicit checks. Here you can select all of them. Okay, I'm going to explain this later, but at the moment we can have it. Now POU communication. I'm going to use a structure test. So here, as I don't have any POU in the NVL task, what I'm going to link is this ASR communication to that task. Okay, so now I'm going to compile. You can see there is 0 warnings, 0 errors. So on my NVL, what I'm going to do is to create variables so I can share that with the M262. So here I'm going to add, we're gonna add some variables here. So for example, x bar 01, x bar 02, and r bar 03, and this one's gonna be float real. So I have this information already created on my NVL that I'm going to share with the other PLC. So in order to use then, what we need to check is, okay, I'm going to call these NVL variables inside the this POU. So it's gonna be NVL my M2.1 dot not 2. And then what I'm going to do is to use the same R3, this one, plus 1 if equal 0, then NVL 0.0. So basically what I'm doing is just a counter, so this is already done. So let's compile, and it's done over here. So what we have done is basically the same as we done before. We have the NVL, we have the GBL, and then we have the possibility to send an information. So in this case, I have created an NVL as a sender, but if we already have, for example, a GBL, so let's imagine that we have X bar 10, X bar 9. Okay, we have already this information, so I'm going to use over here GBL dot not GBL dot. So imagine that I want to share this information that I already have. So on the GBL itself, as you can see, we have this war icon. We can change the properties. So in properties, you can see that they have the same as the other one, but they have this network variable. This will allow me to convert the standard NVL to an NVL. So here, what I can do is to this is UDP and task. I'm going to create a new one, an identifier. Okay, this is the ID. We have already the 1. Now it's going to be the 2. And secret transmission, it's going to be 1. Okay, so I can apply. And as soon as you apply this, you can see over here, okay, that we have let's see, fire. You can see over there that I have the arrow. So that arrow that you have the word and it's going outside, it means that it's a NVL sender. I send the information outside. And close this. So I have this part already done. Now we need to do something similar on the other side, on the M262. So I'm going to delete this one because I'm going to have already a GBL. So I don't want to create a confuse over here. So I'm going to delete it. Now, what I need to do is to create another task. We already saw why. Task NVL. I'm going to say the same now as the other one. This one needs to be higher than 25. So I'm going to use 28 as the same as before. This one we can use 20. I believe I used 20 in the previous one. Yes, 20 is fine. So what I need to do now, okay, is to create a new POU. Okay. Communication M251. So I'm going to receive information from the other side. Structure test. Okay. So I'm going to create another GBL. Sender NVL is going to be NVL my M262. Network type is UDP. Settings is the port. I'm not 100% sure if each one needs a different port, but we can check it. And then the list identifier. Here, as we are using, for example, another project, okay, you need to be careful in the ID. So in this case, what I'm going to do is assign the 11. Sickle transmission, it's going to be 100. Okay, so I have identifier 1, 2, and 11. So I'm going to add this NVL as you can see, I have another word over here. So I'm going to specify, I don't know, status. Okay. Error, something like that. And I'm going to count it. So I'm going to do something similar as I've done on the other one. So it's going to be NVL my M262 dot status NVL. So it's not M262 dot error. So if I don't have error, the status means it's okay. Let's see. Now let's see. Let's just send this. So I need to drag this to be open here. And that's it. So far what we have done is to define in each PLC that they're going to send information. Okay, but I haven't specified which information is going to receive in each PLC. So for that, what we can do is the following. On each PLC, for example, in my case, I'm using M258 as an active application. Right click, add object, and here you have network variable list receiver. And if you take a look over here, okay, you should be able to see the the arrow coming into the word. So it means that it's a receiver. There. Okay, there's an arrow coming in. So let's go. So here we can define the name of the NVL. Okay, so we have this is going to be a receiver. Here we can link it to a mast. The sender, in my case, we have two possibilities. We can use the NVLs available on our project, or we can import from another project. Okay, so I'm going to show you in this case if it's in the same project, and then I'm going to show you if it's outside. So the system already identified that we have one PLC, the M262, and this one has an NVL, so we can directly select it. So here I can define this name. So I'm going to define the NVL like the same, my M262, the same name, and then you can add it. As soon as you add it, you can see on the network that I have the name that I have defined and some information about the PLC and the variables. Okay, if you pay attention, I cannot modify. I click in, but I cannot modify because this information came from the other controller. So now if I modify this and add, for example, counter 2, yes, counter 2, okay, and you can see over here that it has been modified automatically. Okay, so this is when you have in the same project that information. Now let's take a look what happened when we have two different projects, okay, two different instances of Machine Expert. In that case, what you need to do is in the original PLC, export the file. So right click over here, network variable list, link to a file, okay. So here what we need to do is export before compile, select here the file name, going to save it in this location. So it's going to be my M258 controller path. You can see this is the access, and then you can apply. Okay, once you compile this, let me just take a look. So here this is the path. As you can see, I had created this file. It's automatically created. Edit notepad, and if you take a look over here, it has all the information and it has the 3 variables in it. So I'm going to close it. The same can be done with the other NVL that we have. It's going to be this one, GBL, properties, settings, no, oh my god, and link to file, export. I'm going to create GBL name, save it, apply. Okay, let's compile. Let me just find you this training NVLs, and there we go. So as you can see here, it creates a new GBL. Edit notepad. You should be able to see the 2 variables, X bar 9 and 10, that are inside the GBL 9 and 10. So let's close all the windows. So I have already created a file for the NVL on the M251. Now I'm going to import that on the M262. So here, right click, add object, receiver. Here, I can specify the new GBL. So I'm going to be NVL, my M251, mass, and instead of using this sender, I'm going to import for a file. So here, import, I need to select my M251, add. You can see here the variables, and you can see over here that I have the arrow coming in, receiver, GBL, mass task, import from file, and select the GBL, add. That's it. So now how we can use it? Perfect. So let's go back to the M251. The M251, I have the as communication, and here we just need to type the name of the NVL, my M262 dot, and I have the variables. So I'm going to use the status. Okay. The status is going to be written over here. Okay, just to show something. And let's go back now to the M262. I have this one. So if the NVL, remember that this one is only sharing the data, you cannot write into the NVL receiver. Okay, so NVL my M251, okay, dot part 3 equal equal 500 dot 0, then let's see, aux equal true, whoops, else aux. This aux is a new variable that I'm going to create, okay, as local over here. So we're going to read on the software, okay, we're going to use information coming from the M251 and set this variable. That's it. But we cannot write information to that NVL. We cannot overlap because the information is coming from the other side. So now that we have this, it's time to download the program. So I'm going to connect to the M251 and download this, so I can show you that this is working fine. So M251, this one, configure online, okay, F. I got the feeling that is LTA. Let's wait for it to finish. Okay, so now if we open here, we should be able to see some status, which is doing something, okay, which is fine. Okay, and if we go to the NVLs, GBL, we should be able to see some data about the transmission and everything. Okay, these one are generated once you are online, but there are some function blocks for troubleshooting. So if we go to my M262, there is nothing at all because we haven't downloaded to the M262 the program. So let's connect now with the M262. Okay, application, double click, double click in my controller so we can download to the M262. Okay, and download. Then just double check. I believe there is this one. Yes. Yes. It's already used. Okay, which is fine. They need a different ports. So if we go back here, network properties, settings. I wasn't 100% sure, but it's fine. So let's use this port because that port is already used for this NVL. If you take a look over here. Okay, now let's take a look on this GBL. If it's automatically changed that. Yes, it changed 103. So there is not enough with having the ID different. It also needs to have a different port. I wasn't quite sure. Okay, so that's done. So now we need to download this to the M262 once again. Yes. This message will not appear if we have two different projects. That's why having it the same can give you further information. But you need to be aware that it needs to be different ID and different port from each NVL that you have created. So yes, and run. So if you, let's just close all the windows. So application 3, let's open this one. You can see here I'm receiving the NVL, this information, okay, which is the information from the other PLC, and right now I'm connecting into the M262. If we take a look on the NVL from the M251 on the M251, this is the information. So if we vertical here, you can see that I'm sending information to one to the other. Basically it's that. So if you need to add more variables, you just need to make the modification in one of the PLCs and then download to the other one because it's the one that is checking information with. So imagine that we have already this part already done. I'm going to disconnect from the controller and I'm going to make a modification on my NVL. So I'm going to add a new variable. So it's gonna be X training, and it's gonna be an integer. So I made this modification here, so I need to compile, log in into the controller, okay, which is the M262, but this modification will not be visible on the M251 because I haven't downloaded this part with the new NVL information. So let's wait for this to finish. With login with download. Okay. Yes. So if we take a look on the NVL my M262 from the M251, we don't have the new variable, this one, iTraining. So if I prepare a value 15, that information is not in there, because what we need to do is to compile on the M258 so we can see the new variable and then download the program. So let's do that. So here, I'm going to set active application. Here, I'm going to log out. And over here, what we need to do, as you can see, is already done it. No, this part, my M2B training is added as soon as we go offline, because it's added in the system, but otherwise we should be able to compile this and then download. So as soon as we done this, log in the M258, we just need to download, and then we should be able to see the value 15, if I'm not wrong, on this one, or I haven't done it. 251, 15, training, 15, training. As you can see, this is working. So this is how you can make the NVL communication having two PLCs inside the same project of the Machine Expert, or it can be outside, having two different instances of the Machine Expert. So this is it for the NVLs. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I see you on the next one.